everyone and welcome to today's video, which is quite a big one because we're going to be discussing every single series that I'm in the middle of. And these are series that I've either read like 1 or 2 books of and then I own the rest of the series, or I have some of them, but I have quite a few. I've got a mix of genres. I'm not going to go in order of like genres. I'm just going to pick up any random book because there's so many that I can't be bothered to organise, but I do have like some mystery, some romance, some fantasy, some dystopian, so let's get to it. Now the first series that I've started, I've read 1 book, and this is like quite a large series. It is Crave. I believe there's 6 books out now, but this follows a supernatural boarding school, which is everything that I want in a fantasy book. I love a boarding school setting, and of course with all the supernatural beings, we've got vampires, witches, shapeshifters, we've got it all, and I really enjoyed this one. It's definitely very cheesy because it's like vampire boarding school, but I really enjoyed it. I believe the order is Crave, Crush, Covet, Court, Charm, and then Cherish. So I do own Crush and Covet, which are the 2nd and 3rd books, so I'm so excited to get to those. Don't know when I will because they are a little bit chunky, like they are on the chunkier side, so I don't know when I'll find the time to read them because this one's over 500 pages. It's 571. But I'm really looking forward to continuing this because I actually really enjoyed it. So I need to get back into that. Next, another fantasy series. This one's incomplete. I don't know how many books there are going to be, but I do have the 2nd one on my shelf and I haven't read it yet. And that would be Legendborn. And I loved Legendborn. When this came out, it was like all I could think about. I gave this a 5 stars instantly. It was so good. I do need to read the 2nd one. Probably need to reread the 1st before I start the 2nd one because it's been so long since I read it. But it's like an urban fantasy with like demon hunting, but it's also a King Arthur retelling. So very interesting. Again, set in like a school setting with secret societies. This is set in a university. So very fun. Next, we have a dystopian series, and I do have this whole series so I can finish it, I just haven't yet. And that is The Darkest Minds. This is another one that is actually quite thick and the font is small, so it scared me a bit. But this is like a trilogy, but it does have another book, and I do have that other book, which is like novellas. So I don't know if you would say that I've got 3 more to read or 2 more to read, but the next ones are Never Fade and In the Afterlight, and then the novella one is called Through the Dark. As for this, I enjoyed it. I knew it was going to happen because I had watched the movie first, but there is no movie for the 2nd and 3rd books. So if I want to continue the story, I will need to read those books. I'm also really upset that they never continued on with this movie series because I was so excited for it. Next, we have a book that I read in January this year, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is a mystery series and it is getting its own TV show this year. I believe it's coming out, so that's super exciting. But this is a trilogy, and the 2nd one is called, I don't know. I know one of them is called Good Girl Bad Blood. Is that the 2nd one or is that the 3rd one? Okay, I think that's the 2nd one, and then the 3rd one's called As Good as Dead? No. Let me look that up because I actually don't know. Oh my gosh, I was right. Should have gone with my instincts, but yes, there's 2 more in this series. Really enjoyed this first one. I gave it a 5 stars, so I am so excited to read the next ones. I don't know if it's continuing on with this mystery line because it was kind of wrapped up in this book, so I don't know if she's solving other mysteries in the next books, but I'm excited to find out. The next series I have is a romance series, which is the Kings of Sin series. This has 4 books currently, but of course there is going to be 7 in total because it is based on the 7 deadly sins. This first one, King of Wrath and King of Pride, the 2nd one I have read, but then I have not read King of Greed, which is the 3rd, and then King of Sloth, which is the 4th, which just came out last month, I believe. So still pretty new. Excited to finish this series because it is about rich people living in New York City. So they're like high society, lots of money, interesting stories because they're rich. And they just have interesting lives. So I love to read about that. So excited to finish this series. Next we have a dystopian series, and I was obsessed with this first book when I read it, I don't know how long ago, but Delirium. Like whatever happened to this series? I don't know because I never continued it. I literally only read the first. I believe it's a trilogy, but I loved this so much. But I think the main reason why I didn't want to continue this series is because I couldn't find in any bookshops the rest of the series to match these covers. They've got new covers now, so I didn't want to buy them because they wouldn't match. I guess I could borrow them from the library, but it's been so long since I read it now, I feel like I need to reread it. But this is set in a world where like love is illegal, and it's also like fenced off, kind of giving Divergent vibes, but I can't really remember. But I remember really liking it because obviously our main character, she falls in love and that's not allowed. But I really liked it. The second one is called Pandemonium and the third one is called Requiem. Haven't read them, don't know what it's like. Can't remember the ending. Oh, I think I do remember the ending. Were they on a motorbike? Is that how it ended? I don't know. That's not gonna spoil anything, is it? Obviously not, it's a motorbike. Hello? Oh yes. Is it a motorbike or a bike? I did see bike in there. Maybe is it like a push bike? Surely not. Oh no, motorcycle. I was correct. I remember that ending. Now I want to read the next ones. It's been years since I read this. Anywho, really enjoyed it. Should probably finish it sometime. Next I have another dystopian which I loved at the time of reading it, but then I stopped the series after the third book because I didn't have the other ones. Shatter Me. Hello. Like, so many people have loved this and I did too. I just stopped reading. And I have since bought the 4th, 5th and 6th book, but I haven't read them. So obviously there are 6 books in this series, but there is also novellas, which I didn't read when reading the first 3. But I feel like if I'm going to continue with the series, I want to read the novellas as well. So I think I should reread the first 3 with the novellas intertwined. I don't know the order because I believe like you read one and then you read one of the novellas and then you read another book again. I need to figure out how that works, but I really enjoyed this. It's about this girl named Juliet who has like a lethal touch. If she touches someone, they will die. And it's really good. It's set in like somewhat... I always go back to Divergent because I don't know. Anywho, it's not like Divergent, but it kind of is, but it's not. I don't know how to describe it. Like, she has magical powers. Would you call it magical powers? I don't know. But not everyone in the world does. But it's also kind of war-torn, but not. It's under control of some sort of military thing. And then, look, I don't know. I can't remember. But I remember, but I can't remember. And then, of course, there is like a love triangle that goes throughout the first couple of books. Really enjoyed that. Need to get back into it. Actually, like, yeah. Oh my gosh. I loved the third one, Ignite Me. So good. Next, we have another book that I read earlier on this year. What was it? 2 months ago, maybe? Indigo Ridge. Another 5 stars for me this year, and I absolutely loved it. This is quite a large series though, because it is a romance series and each book follows a different couple, but they're all siblings. They're not all siblings. I mean, like, the series is called The Edens, so each book follows a different Eden sibling and they're couples. They're not, the siblings aren't together. Oh gosh. Anywho, this one was so good. It also has like mystery aspects weaved into it as well. This one, our female lead is the chief of police, so she was trying to solve some cases in the town, and then of course there's the romance. I really enjoyed it. Can't wait to finish this series. Obviously there's a lot in the back. I believe there's more than this now. Is there more than 6? How many Edens are there? Maybe that's right, 6? Or is there 7? I don't know, but I loved it. And I really enjoyed the writing as well. So this author has quite a few series, so I feel like after I finish this one, I will have to read her other ones. But I haven't read any of those yet, so I'm not in the middle of those series. Next is a book series that I stopped reading about 3 or 4 years ago because, I don't know, like, okay, I will just hold it up. City of Bones, right? The Mortal Instruments. I was really trying to love this because I had read the first one and watched the movie like a long time ago, and then I was like, let me continue it. This was when I was in high school. I was like, yeah, I'll pick that up again. So I reread the first, read the second, and then I was like, oh, because obviously there's that reveal in the end of the second book, and then I was halfway through the third and I was like, no, I can't do this. And I am going to spoil it, so if you really care about being spoiled for this book series, don't listen, but it's been out forever, so you probably know. But there is a storyline where the two main characters who have a romantic relationship found out they were siblings. But turns out they aren't, and I know that. And I knew that when reading the book, but it's just the fact that they still thought they were siblings at this time, but they were still kissing. I was like, guys, stop. It was terrible. That's why I stopped reading the third book, but otherwise, I don't know if I should continue. Like, let me know if you think it's worth it. I've heard that the other books, like the Infernal Devices, which is connected to this series as well, is much better. I do have the first one, but I haven't started it because I just was like, what is she doing? And the fact that this series to begin with was based off the author's Ron and Ginny fanfiction, like from Harry Potter. And their siblings. So I just don't know how to feel. Don't know when I'll continue. Let me know if it's worth it though. This next one is another book that I read this year. So I have started a few series this year without finishing the ones that I have already been in the middle of. But we have One Dark Window. And this, I believe, is a duology. So I only have one more to go and then I'll be done. And I do have that other one on my bookshelf, so I should be reading it soon. But I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave it a 4.5 or maybe a 5. I don't know. I've heard the second one was better, so I'm excited to read it. But this is a fantasy with a really unique magic system. They have cards that give them magical powers. So I love that. And I'm just really excited to read the rest of this. I did do a reading vlog on this, so if you want to see my thoughts at the time of reading, check that out. But next, another book that I read in that same reading vlog, which is a series. The third one is coming out this year. Again, because it's a romance book, it has a different couple in each book, so it's connected, but you don't have to read them in order if you don't want to. But Icebreaker. This is a sports romance. We've got a figure skater and an ice hockey player. Super fun. Once again, set in like a university setting, which I love to see. The second one though, Wildfire, it is set in a summer camp, and I believe there's no talk about sports, which is strange because it was like supposed to be a sports romance series, but maybe it's not. Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. But really enjoyed this, so I'm excited to finish the rest of the series. And then the third one, Daydream, I believe it's called. I think it's coming out in a couple months, so should get onto it so I can read the rest. Next, another dystopian series, The Selection. I have one more book to go. It does have like 5 books, I think, but there's the main trilogy, and I think I'm just going to stick with the trilogy, which is The Selection and then The Elite, and then the last one is The One. So I just have The One to go. And then, I don't know, there's, I think The Air and something else. I'm not too sure, but I believe that's set down the track like 20 years later maybe. I don't actually know. Could be lying. It's for a younger audience, I would say. Probably would have loved this in like year 6 or something. It's still interesting. It's basically like The Bachelor, but with royals, and it's also like a dystopian. So very fun. Next is a series that I really loved. I read this first one like middle of last year, probably like this time last year, and that is The Mysterious Society for Lady Scoundrels. Oh, of Lady Scoundrels. I always say for. Of Lady Scoundrels. This is a series called the Dangerous Damsel series. Once again, interconnected books. It's all set in like the same time period and has the same magic system involved, but each book has different characters, so it's not like you have to read them in order. But this one has pirates, the second one has witches, and the third one has assassins. So love it. Set in Regency era, and it's super fun, has great humour, really enjoyed it, and the covers are so cute. So definitely need to pick these books back up again. And now the last book that I have a physical copy of, and the physical copy of the second one, is Fourth Wing. I don't know why it has taken me so long to pick up Iron Flame, but I'm still probably not going to pick it up anytime soon because I am scared of it. I've heard very mixed opinions, and I really enjoyed Fourth Wing, that I don't want it to be ruined by Iron Flame. I know in my head I'm probably going to like it, but I'm just a bit nervous. And also it's really thick, so I just don't have the time at the moment to read it. But I really enjoyed this. I have tabbed it, I annotated it. I do have a vlog on this if you want to see that, but I just need to get to Iron Flame. Someone convince me, because I don't know. Right now I'm waiting. Now those are the books that I physically own in series, but I do have some other ones that I had borrowed from the library. So let me go to my notes app to see what those were. Harry Potter. I've read the first 3, so I need to finish the rest of those. I have watched all the movies, but I feel like I need to read the books, so I should get to those sometime soon. I left one of my books downstairs because I didn't have the first one. I've only just been showing the first ones. But The City We Became. This is only a duology, and I do own the second book, which is called The City We Make, I believe. I think. I talked about this in my last video of New York City book recommendations. Check that out if you're interested, because it's a great video. But it's set in New York City. It's a sci-fi where people become the city, and they're like physical manifestations of the city, which is so fun, very unique, very interesting. And I really need to get to that second one because there's only 2 books in the series. I should read it. I swear, I need to do like a reading vlog or something where I actually like smash out some series, because it's getting to be too much. Like there's definitely over 10 here. Continuing on, we also have Lockwood & Co. I think I've read 3 books in this series, and I believe it's a 5-book series. I loved it. I loved the show. That's why I read the books, because I found out they were cancelling the show, so I needed to keep reading. And I really enjoy it. So fun. So I need to get to the rest of this series because it's such a fun time. Really like it. And then I have My Fault, which I read the first one last year. I also started the second one in December last year, but I can't remember why I stopped. I think maybe I had to return it back to the library or something, or I wanted to read another book, so I just let the thing go. I don't know. But I was like a good chunk into the second book. I probably should start that again sometime, but I believe it's only 3 books. But I do want to read the second one before the second movie comes out, so I need to get to that soon. But I did read the first one after watching the first movie. I don't know if I like the movie or the books better. I'm not sure, but this is translated because it's originally in Spanish. So there you go. Now I definitely have more series that I've just randomly started. Like I do have some that were second in a series that I just read because they were on Prime Reading, because I didn't have Kindle Unlimited, so I just read the second one. That one was The Blind Side by Candy Steiner. Really enjoyed that book. I believe that's like a 4-book series now, but I haven't continued it. Probably won't because I don't have Kindle Unlimited. So there you go. Also, have to mention, even though the second book's not out yet, but I really just should mention it anyway because it is a series and I am in the middle of it. I've read the first one, Die For You. I don't have it on me now, it's downstairs, but I'm not going to go downstairs. Die For You by Lauren Jackson. Absolutely loved it. Vampire romance set in Australia. How fun. But the second one, the cover just got announced yesterday, so look at it. I'm so excited. I don't know which month it comes out, I can't remember, but I'm so excited to read it. This one follows other characters that were mentioned in Die For You, so keep your eyes peeled for when that is in the bookshops. I will be buying it immediately. I'm so excited. So that is it for today. I do have more series that I have started that I know I'm not going to continue, so those are just hanging around downstairs with only the first book on the shelf. But let me know if you've completed any of these series that I talked about today, and if you have any favourites, let me know which I should prioritise, because obviously have lots of reading to do and I feel like I want to start more series. I'm this close to picking up the Chestnut Springs series, but should I if I have this many book series to read? I don't know. Maybe I will. I probably will. You can't stop me. But if you do have any favourites, please convince me. Please motivate me to read these books. because I feel terrible for not having read them already. But that is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below because I do post new videos every single Saturday, so you do not want to miss it. But I will see you next week. Goodbye!